Adel Mahroui is live for us in Sharm el-Sheikh and has the latest. Adel, what's the latest from the Gaza Peace Summit and what are we expecting from there tonight?
So the Gaza Peace Summit so far has begun, and by the signature of President Donald Trump, Egyptian President Fattah al-Sisi, Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan, and the Emir of Kuwait, Tamim bin Hamad al-Jassim Thani, they've all signed the ceasefire agreement, not just as mediators, but also as guarantors to make sure that all parties involved, basically Israel and Hamas, would implement their responsibilities in these agreements. This comes as the first phase of the agreement comes into effect. We've seen, as you've mentioned, Israeli hostages released, Palestinian prisoners released, partial Israeli withdrawal from the Palestinian enclave. However, the leaders here today, specifically President Trump and President Sisi, say that their focus for the next few days will be on extracting the remaining bodies of the Israeli hostages who died during the past 2 years. Many of them are in separate locations, mostly under rubble due to the Israeli bombardment on the Palestinian enclave, so that will be the main focus for them now. At the same time, the purpose of this summit is to show international solidarity to the peace plan, to a plan that sees lasting ceasefire, that sees a future in the governance of Gaza, sees reform within the Palestinian Authority and disarmament of the armed resistance group. And this is basically what the leaders will be discussing later on, is trying to get an agreement on that. But most importantly, this is a call for peace. It shows that leaders from 27 countries besides are all gathered here today to say enough for war and it's time for peace. President al-Sisi during his speech says to President Trump that he hopes that this will be the end of war in the entire Middle East, a region that is full of crises, and that's basically the hope now.
Right, Adel, give us the highlights of what has been signed so far.
So the agreement in general, President Trump's plan has been signed, specifically the first phase of it, which is the one that reached an agreement. That is the all releasing of hostages, which has taken place, the retrieving of the 28 remaining dead bodies, Israelis who had died in the Gaza enclave, and Israeli withdrawal from there, as well as the flow of aid, all of which have started taking place. What remains to be a crucial issue for the lasting peace is the governance of Gaza. Who will take the leadership in the governance of Gaza? Will there be an international board of peace, as President Trump says he desires to manage or at least supervise the Palestinian enclave, which the Palestinian faction seems to not be in favor of, even the Palestinian Authority. So this is one of the main crucial issues. Also, the disarmament of the Palestinian armed resistance group. Hamas does not want to drop down its weapons unless a Palestinian state is realized. Israel doesn't want to withdraw until Hamas drops its arm. And one of the Egyptian negotiations that has been discussed with the leaders here today is what Egypt calls an arms freeze, to freeze the use of arms among the armed resistance group for a period of up to 10 years, through which a track for a Palestinian state would be negotiated, and hopefully, if succeeds, everyone gets basically what they desire for. So this is the main challenge, but what remains in the discussions and negotiations are deal breakers. They are the same topics that have pushed all previous ceasefire talks to failure and can affect the next round of ceasefires, the current one, if they do not succeed.